Welcome to Hagadah Bites, Shem Mishmuel on the Hagadah, episode 8. We're learning in the Hagadah of the Shem Mishmuel, page Kuf Chet. You can find the PDF on the description, on the notes. We're starting on page Kuf Chet, right column, where it says Pesach, Matzah, Maror, from the words of Rabban Gamliel on the Hagadah. Kol shelo amar b'Pesach shlosha dvarim halalu lo yatsa yedecha vato. We have to say and analyze and learn three things: Pesach, Matzah, and Maror. Says the Shem Mishmuel, lahavin inyan Maror. Right column of page Kufchet, to understand what the Maror is all about. She'eno mitzvah b'fnei atzmo deoraita ela ima Pesach. There is no mitzvah to eat Maror independently, but rather only in a time when there is a Korban Pesach. As we explained at great length in the third shiur on the Seder, the weekly series, that there's a difference between matzah and maror. Matzah is independently even in times when there is no Korban Pesach. Therefore, matzah nowadays is deoraita. However, maror is bound to Korban Pesach. And therefore, if there's no Korban Pesach, the maror nowadays is only midirabanan. Because originally the maror was given to be eaten with the Korban Pesach. It's not independent. Furthermore, Ula Hillel, and according to the opinion of Hillel, Bekricha Dafka. According to Hillel, not only Maror could only apply in a time when there is Korban Pesach, in the same bite. In the same bite, there has to be also Pesach and Matzah. We never eat Maror on its own. And even nowadays, when we do a Zecher for Hillel, we eat Matzah with Maror. So we see that Maror doesn't have that independence. Maror is fully dependent on others. Why is that? The Namruzal, our sages say, the Maror, Tchilato Matog, V'sofo Mar. Maror, at the beginning, it's sweet. And at the end, it's bitter. As Chachamim say, Maror is Gimatria Mavet, death. So Maror begins sweet, but then you realize that this is no good. With Hashon Ze'atzmo, and the same idea we also find about the Yetzer Hara. Tchilato Matog, V'sofo Mar. Yetzer Hara also, at the beginning, he tells you, yeah, this is sweet, this is geshmak, this is pleasurable. And at the end, you realize that what the Yetzer Hara got you into was completely off. Therefore, says the Shem Mishmuel, I would like to learn that what is Maror? Maror is a synonym for Yetzer Hara. Maror is a synonym for Yetzer Hara. And it makes sense, because who brought death and bitterness? Which Maror is Gimatria death, right? So who brought death and bitterness to the world if not for the Yetzer Hara? So definitely we define Maror as Yetzer Hara. Hine Amru Zal b'chol levavcha b'shnei yitzarecha. It says in Gemara in Brachot, a person has to serve Hashem with all his heart, right? We say it in Shema. Explains the Gemara, what does it mean with all your hearts? Levavecha is plural with Yetzer Tov and Yetzer Hara. Shetach lisavodat adam. The purpose of creation is la'achniz gam et Yetzer Hara b'kedusha, also to include the Yetzer Hara in the holiness. So we have a mission not only to include our nefesh elokit, not only to include our Yetzer Tov, but also to include and engage and inspire and use and harness our nefesh abamit, our animal soul, our Yetzer Hara. B'chol levavech. Ve'alken eno mitzvah b'fnei atzma. Now we can understand why the Maror is not independent. Now that you know the Maror means Yetzer Hara, it's definitely not independent. The only way to engage in Kedusha is only So what's the point of the Yetzer Hara? To engage him, to use his energy. So obviously there's no point of Yetzer Hara on its own, that's dangerous. There's no Maror independent. Maror has to be codependent to the Matzah, to the Pesach. Because Yetzer Hara on its own, it's pointless. It's detrimental, it's a disaster. We need the Yetzer Hara to be bound, to be harnessed for the Kedusha. It brings an example, Kigon, lechedvata deshmaita. You want to learn with a geshmak, you want to learn with passion, you want to learn with excitement. Who knows what passion is all about? Who knows what excitement is all about? Yetzer Hara. Yetzer Hara knows exactly how to generate passion and excitement in other areas. Take the Yetzer Hara and harness it. Mashcheyu lebet midrash. Harness that energy, that passion, that excitement, that fun. Chedvata deshmaita, and you're learning your sugya. Or Lehargiz alo veretz sonoid barach shma. Or the Yetzer Hara sometimes is best at being angry, being depressed, being sad. Use that for Kedusha. It says in Tanya. Use that sadness and that depression against everything that's wrong. Therefore Hillel says, Hillel says, therefore you only fulfill the mitzvah of Maror. In other words, you only get someone with the Yetzer Hara if at any moment that you're engaged with the Yetzer Hara, with your physical, mundane life, is only towards the engagement of Kedusha. Has to be in the same bite. Only if in the same bite, kricha, only if in the same bite you have matzah, which is mitzvah, and maror, which is Yetzer Hara, are we doing something? That only in such a scenario, the Yetzer Hara becomes one with the Yetzer Tov, and he does something actually productive. So says Hillel, if you want the Yetzer Hara to be productive, you got to make sure that the maror is eaten only bekricha, korech, with the matzah. And Chachamim come and say a step deeper. Follow us, Chachamim omrim, in the bottom of the page, afilu ze bifnei atzmo v'ze bifnei atzmo, hainu, shafilu b'davar hareshut, im hu oseh kedei shetistaef mize mitzvah, Chachamim say no. The value of the Yetzer Hara is not only if in the same action you do a mitzvah, but even if right now you have maror on its own, even if right now you have Yetzer Hara, you have mundane matters on their own, yeah, as long as they're kosher, yeah? But it could still be from the Yetzer Hara, it's from a place of selfishness and looking for pleasures. But if that's in order to bring you to a mitzvah, Afalpi, we go to the top of the next column. Shadain ein ze atzme mitzvah, elashu mekayim bechol drochecha de'eyu. Even though right now you're not doing a mitzvah, you're only doing maror. But if it's sold in the purpose of serving Hashem, kigon, example, hu ochel v'shoteh v'yashen, he's eating, he's sleeping, he's drinking, kedei sheyeh gufo chazak la'avodat Hashem, in order for his body to be strong and committed and happy in the service of Hashem. Nami yecholin letaken et Yetzer Hara. You could also fix the Yetzer Hara v'la'asot tov, and to make him good. So to summarize, this is very powerful. In the night of the Seder, we have a lot of mitzvot. One of those mitzvot is maror. What is maror Yetzer Hara? Comes the Chachamim and Hillel and argue, what's the only way to give a tikkun to Yetzer Hara that's meant to be an asset for Kedusha b'chol levavecha? Hillel says, if you're not going to use the Yetzer Hara in this same moment, in the same bite, in the same korech for Kedusha, you're wasting your time. Chachamim say no. Even if you eat the maror on its own, you ate to the mitzvah. Even if you're doing physical, mundane matters that belong to the domain of the Yetzer Hara, but you're doing them, obviously if they're kosher and they're permissible, but you're doing them in order to serve Kedusha, bechol drechecha de'ehu, kol ma'asecha l'shem shamayim, then even then you're doing something very holy. A person that's eating, that's drinking, that does exercise, that does physical, mundane matters, and instead of doing them as a self-centered activity, he's doing it 100% in order to be able to serve Hashem, to learn Torah, to do mitzvot, to give tzedakah, then even those mundane physical matters that are inherently maror, mavet, are transformed to be a mitzvah. And that's the power of maror. The power of maror is, we take maror begimatria mavet. We take the bitterness of the Yetzer Hara, and we harness that bitterness of the Yetzer Hara for Kedusha. Whether it's in the most optimal way, like Hillel, in the same bite, in the same action, we take the Yetzer Hara and we bring him to the Beis HaMedrash to learn and to daven, and we use his energy and his passion or his anger to reject the bad. Or Chachamim say, even more subtly, if you take your mundane activities, that you find them to be at this moment Yetzer Hara because they're circled around self, and turn that completely and channel it towards a mitzvah, towards Avodat Hashem, towards giving tzedakah, towards learning Torah. So then all of those activities could become bechol levavecha. They could be part of your Ahavat Hashem. They could be part of a mitzvah. And therefore, even maror on its own, if it's for the sake of a mitzvah, you're doing a mitzvah. And that's the message of Pesach. And therefore, it's so important to remember, Pesach, matzah, maror. We're not, yes, we have Pesach, we have matzah, we have mitzvot, we have elevating ourselves above and beyond, but let's not forget, we have a Yetzer Hara. We have a narcissist self-centered demon inside of us. And we have to channel it for the good. It's an asset. Don't hate yourself for Yetzer Hara. Maror is part of the picture. Maror is part of the plan. This Maror, Gimatria Mavet, this bitterness is part of the plan. You'll harness it for the good. Kricha and Maror, B'chol Derech Hadaeu, and you'll be doing an unbelievable mitzvah. That's the power and the gift of Maror.